Don't lie. You know you totally used your jade roller this morning, even though it doesn't really do anything.
Hi, I'm Sybil Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
Hi, I'm Alex Ellis, and I'm a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses. Running your own business is hard.
But we are terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I've already figured it out. But we promise to share everything we know about what it takes to get 6 figures.
And be brutally honest about what works and what totally sucks.
I'll be honest, a bunch of it sucks. Let's get started.
So today we're talking about creating your persona and really your brand and who your brand is, and really this idea of if you are your brand.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing about this is we have 2 very differing opinions. So tell me, Sybil, are you your brand?
So I am not my brand. So when I first started being an esthetician, I realized very quickly that Sybil Solon needed to be an esthetician brand. And I kind of had to put on what I call a hat. And all the things I do, I put on hats. So when I'm a CEO, I put on a hat. When I work in my office, I put on a hat. When, I go out in the public, I take off my hat and I'm just myself. But when I became Sybil Solon esthetician, I was like, okay, who am I as a person, as an esthetician? Sybil Solon esthetician is nice. She's caring. She's kind. She never swears. She takes, impeccably good care of all of the things that are around her. Like, people should never look at my car because I don't ever wash it, whereas everything in my studio is clean and tidy and nice.
That is so true.
But if you get to know Sybil Solon as a real person, I swear like a sailor, and my car is, like I said, a mess, and I have cat hair all over myself always, and I'm not always the nicest person. I think I've told you, Alex, a story about what I do with parking tickets.
Yeah, which we will not reveal. I think it might be a federal offense.
But things like that. So I tend to be fairly abrasive, and you can't, in my opinion, you can't be like that as an esthetician, because that's not what people are looking for in an esthetician. In experience, they're looking for somebody kind and nurturing, and that's what they want. Maybe a little hard love for sure, but they're not seeking someone who's just like, oh my God, you look like a hot mess today. You get the hell out. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Which is what I really want to say to a bunch of clients all the time.
Right. Well, and I guess I come about it as who my brand, or like what my brand is, forward facing. So like on social media, for example, something I think about a lot. And I try to be as authentic and truly who I am on my brand. But as you're talking to, I realize like there's definitely ways that I, as an online business, mm-hmm. So, you have a physical space where people come. I run a primarily online business. Like, I set it up to make it look like I have a whole huge corporation with like a ton of employees. I talk about, let me talk to my team. You have to go through all of these hoops to book into my calendar. It's open. It's so open, but I make you jump through hoops to get in there. So I can see, the facade of like the sleek, big business. But when I show up, when I talk, when I do my lives, when I record, like I'm still just me.
Yeah, you are 100% you. And I always get that comes through. And when you talk about like your persona and the facade, I know that I had, as a business owner, I did website development for years, and people have come into my space, and I have, I think, a very lovely space, but I'm in the middle of nowhere. It looks like the ghetto.
All facts.
Yeah, it looks like the ghetto. I am by an airport, which is great for me because I have clients who fly in. But if you walked up, you'd be like, this building is what? Am I going to get jumped out here? And you look at my website, and it is sleek. It is perfect. It looks like I am a giant spa like Burke Williams or something. I look like Red Door. I am gorgeous. And I've had clients call me up, and they're like, oh, I want to book with one of your people. And like, how many, can you see a wedding party? And I'm like, I'm one person. And they're like, no. Mm-hmm. And so I totally get that. Mm-hmm. But I think that there is also in your industry more ability to be out there with yourself and who you are as a person, because you can kind of be more tough love on people, and you can be more just like, fuck that, you know. Hey, I just want to say thanks so much for watching. I hope that you're liking our content. If you are, if you could just hit subscribe and maybe smash a like button, because, you know, it really helps us continue with this channel. Also, you know, if you really are enjoying it, because we're really trying to put out great content for you, you could also just ring that little bell that's around there somewhere, because we are absolutely going to continue to put out great content like this, and I would hate for you to miss any of it. So thanks again for watching.
But I still think, I mean, there's, you know, customer service.
Yeah.
You know, like, I deal with people, too, and, like, clients, and they're, like, complaining about the same thing. And I'm like, if you just did what I told you, we would not be having this conversation. You know, and so there is biting your tongue. But I feel like that's more in customer service and not necessarily, like, who your brand is.
So have you ever thought to yourself, as Alexandra Ellis, I need to dress a certain way, act a certain way, look a certain way?
I used to. Are you saying like Alexandra Ellis versus AE Wellness, my business?
Yes.
I used to. And like a small way, I'll say that, like, you know, I've stopped doing that.
Right.
Would be going live. And it used to be, well, I have to have my eyebrows penciled in. I have to, you know, have washed my face, have my CC cream on. And now I'm just like, hi, I just got home from the gym. I haven't washed my hair in 3 days. And like, my eyebrows are a hot mess, but I'm showing up and I'm delivering value. So if you like that, cool. If you don't, you're not my people.
Right.
So to me, that's a way where I show up is just like, who cares? You know, like, let's just, you know, let me just be me, because trying to be somebody else was stopping me from showing up.
I get you. I got you on that. Oh, that is a lesson to be learned, because I know as esthetician Sybil, I know that for me, especially when I hit record on something, I think about what my skin looks like every single time, because my skin sells. Like if my skin is not looking good, it is my calling card, and I will be like, that video is not going out. Oh my God!
I can say, as your friend, when I go on videos and there's a pimple right in the middle of my forehead, I am waiting for the DM or text from you. It's like, dude, what's wrong with your face? And I'm like, I know, I just had like gluten this weekend.
I believe the only thing I ever actually mock you on is your eyebrows.
I know. It was the pants reflecting. They were not red.
But there is something to be said for, like, the freedom, because I know for me, one of the things that I do is I will wake up on Instagram and immediately do Instagram videos, and I show my clients what I look like when I first wake up, so they can see, look, my skin looks like this. This is what I look like without a filter. This is what I look like, because I do the work. I do the work to look like this. That is not to say that I've recorded YouTube videos and been like, oh, ooh, that light was not okay, and I cannot use that. There's no fixing that in post. Delete.
Yeah.
Right? And that's because there's no way esthetician Sybil Solon is showing that to the world. Whereas, like, you would.
I'm trying to think. No, there's like a lot of photos that I wouldn't post because of that. But I'm thinking, what I hear you saying too is that, and what I've done for like my filming for my lives, I have a system.
Okay.
So I know if I'm going to go live, or I do my filming for like my YouTube and more of my like client stuff, I film in the same place every time at the same time of day, because I know what to expect, because I don't want to have to delete it. And I'm trying to think of a time where I have made something and it just like the lighting was not so great. But I agree. I don't ever think like, oh, well, you know, like I'm not worried about that in the same way. But I would say, like, systematizing some of that, you know, like, you know,
absolutely true. Absolutely
setting it up the same way every time guarantees. But that, too, comes back to branding. Yeah. You know, part of branding, I'm going to show up with the same colors. Like, I wear shirts that have my logo on it all the time, because then when I go live, when I do a photo, like, my logo is right there in front of you. So I think even that, like, systematizing where you show up, how you show up is part of that brand, you know?
100% true. 100% true. I know that for me, sometimes as a person who's sneaking videos in between clients, I don't sometimes have that luxury. I'm like, this is the time. This is the place. We're doing it now. And I'm hoping for the best. Also, there are some times where I'll be like, you know what? That light seemed okay. And then I'll look at the video, I'm like, that light was not okay. It started okay. It ended not okay. As my sister used to say, I'm fighting the rotation of the earth and clouds.
Yeah.
It turned out very poorly at the end there.
Seemed like a good idea.
It seemed like an okay idea. But going back to the creation of kind of your persona as well, when you were creating AE Wellness, did you ever think about the fact that you might need a persona? Was it something that crossed your mind?
Yes. Because I think, too, just, like, being your own business, there's this pressure to, like, I have to do it perfect. I have to have it figured out. You know, I coach people to get stronger and get out of pain and do it in a really sustainable way. And so when I have pain, I don't want to talk about it because to me that feels like a failure. You know, like, ooh, I screwed up. I didn't take my own advice and, like, don't tell anybody because then that ruins the facade of perfection.
Right.
But then I realized, too, like, the people and brands that I love are the ones who are like, yeah, totally screwed up and like, you know, and just like off the cuff. Like to me, I like less polished, especially because we live in an age where like social media is so super filtered. And like if I roll up into your account and like you don't have a single pore, I don't even care if you are telling me like your Bitcoin account number and you're gonna pay me. I can't even look. You know, I'm just like, you're not real. I can't. So I think it definitely does. It does come up, and it's actually been something I've been trying to step out of a little bit more. But I think you bring some elements of your, and like, okay, I don't cuss in any of my videos. I don't cuss on my podcast. When I teach, I don't, you know, but you and me have conversations and it's like, again, we're like sailors. I got, sailor tattoo, the whole 9 yards. But like you have that calendar that's,
my supernatural calendar.
Yeah. So like you bring your nerdiness, you have unicorn shirts, you have those cute little unicorns all over your office.
I have. So I worked on kind of slowly moving my brand over the last like 5 years as Sybil Soul and Esthetician, kind of letting go of the reins a little bit in a thing I call breaking my business, which we will definitely talk about. But I kind of like saw how much of me I could let out without scaring people. And what I discovered is you can let out about the amount, a little bit. And it was okay. And that actually was okay, especially as social media became a thing. People actually want to see more of, like, you.
Yeah, like, what'd you have for breakfast?
Right, a little bit more of you. And so people are like, yeah, Sybil's into Supernatural. She likes unicorns. That's awesome. She's super into Starbucks. And, you know, she bought a trailer, stuff like that.
But don't you think, too, like, there's a lot of estheticians. And so...
Yes.
But you being you is what makes you different.
I think as an esthetician and just brands in general, and definitely as an esthetician, you as a person bring something to the table. People want to be in your sphere, in your energy. They want to be with you. But actually, a lot of it has to do with your touch. A lot of it has to be your touch. Especially with estheticians.
You mean like physical touch? Like on your face?
Yeah, on your body and your touch.
But how are they even going to get in the door if they, you know?
You know, they're going to get through the door mostly because they're going to find reviews about you and whether you're good at your job or not. And then they're going to stay with you, whether they like your personality and whether they like your touch and if you're good at your job. But understand that most of my clients liked the persona I created. That's what they really wanted.
And you have a lot of word of mouth, though, right? Most of your clients, would you say?
No.
Really?
Yes. Most of my clients are not word of mouth. That's for a whole nother episode. Yeah, no. Nearly none of my clients are word of mouth. I get... Word of mouth clients are the worst clients for me. I actually don't want your referrals. Don't send me your clients. I don't want your friends.
Stay away. I don't want your friends.
I don't want your family.
Oh, interesting.
I don't want them because they're not going to be my client. They're not the right person for me.
Well, I guess the thing that I'm still like trying to wrap my brain around is like there's the client experience, but isn't that separate from the brand? So would Sybil Soul and Esthetician be part of the client experience that you're creating and not necessarily your brand forward facing?
Client experience is the brand that I've created. I think they are one and the same thing. I think you've hit the nail on it. Yeah, it is part of the experience. So the fact that I make sure that I touch every single person like this when I end a service.
She's touching my shoulder for those of you who can't see.
Yeah, I'm touching her shoulder. That is absolutely completely catered and something I've made sure I do. The tone that I use when I talk to people, absolutely chosen. The fact
I have noticed that you do have a tone because I've heard the other tone.
Yeah, the tone that I use that is Sybil Solon esthetician tone. The fact that I actually hold my body differently. My friend, a perfect example. So my friend Kelly knew me first as just Sybil Solon. We did book club together. We've known each other for 3 years. I asked her to come and be a makeup model for me at a class. She came to be my model, and she, like, 25 minutes into it was like, is everything okay? And I'm like, what? She goes, I'm just really freaked out by you right now. And I'm like, in what way? She goes, it's like you're not you. And I'm like, oh, this is Sybil Solon esthetician. And she goes, it's super creepy.
But is it hard to, like, maintain and, like, know which person needs to show up for which thing?
No, because I've done it for so many years now. It's just, like, who it is. And I think for me, I mean, I did acting for years, so it was just creating a character. It was creating a role. And I was just like, this is the role that I want to take on that is Sybil Solon esthetician. And so this is the person I'm going to be. And it's just, like I said, it's a hat you put on. And so I just would stick on that hat.
Yeah, see, personally, I just felt like so restricted to not be able to be my full self and, like, not share and be vulnerable and be honest. And I do think it's part of, like, the different industries.
Right.
But I wonder, like, if you could go back and do it all again, would you make the same choice?
Yes. I would do the same thing. I might let a little bit more of me out now. Like, the person I am now, I think, is a little easier for me to be than the so restricted. But if you think about what people are coming in for when they're coming into a spa experience, it's about them, and they want to feel nurtured, and they want it to be about them, and they want to leave feeling happy and upbeat. And there are days where you are just not upbeat and you are not happy, and you have to be able to take that off. And for me, putting on that persona of Sybil Solon esthetician, you stick it on I wear an apron usually, so I put it on with the apron and I go, okay, I'm now Sybil Solon esthetician. And it's a costume, and you just stick it on. Like, this is the person I am. I put on the smile. I put on the voice. Hello, how are you doing today? How are you doing, sweetie? Because I don't know any of my clients' names. And I say hello to them. And that's that.
Well, and I, as you say that, I realize I have totally had that experience, like after a death in the family, and I had to go teach the next day, and, like, I literally did not want to be there at all, but there were paying clients. So for sure, you just, like, pack up your grief, you pack up your emotions, you set it aside, and you show up. But to me, still, like, that's not, I guess...
Would it have been easier if you had had a persona that was already set?
Probably.
Would have been easier to go do that.
Yeah, probably.
So 15 years into this.
Yeah.
I've had cancer. I've had breakups. I've had deaths in the family. I've had fights. You do this 12 hours a day sometimes, 7 days a week sometimes, till midnight sometimes, with people who are crazy at you sometimes. You got to have the persona, in my opinion.
Already built.
To be built, to be able to fall back on and just be like, it's cool. It's just like that extra layer of who you are, so you're not, like, having breakdowns all the time.
Yeah. There's, I can't remember. Katy Perry came out with that movie. Did you?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. Okay, I did watch it. Yes. Very powerful.
So she is going through a breakup.
Yeah.
And there's, probably like 10 trillion people chanting her name, and she is, like, inconsolable on the couch. They're trying to, like, they keep redoing her makeup because she's sobbing.
It just keeps coming off.
Yeah. And then she is on the platform. I'm getting chills too just talking about this. On the platform, ready to be brought up, elevated to stage level. And there's this moment where you can see her take Katy Perry off and put Katy Perry the pop star on.
I know exactly what you were talking about, because you literally see her shed.
Yeah.
You see her, like, be like, I have to leave it.
Yeah.
It's time to go out and perform.
Yeah, I'm here for these people.
Show must go on. And, like, the Queen music sounds in my mind in that point, and that's exactly what it is sometimes. And that is what I think you build a persona for.
Yeah.
It's for, like, the hardest times like that.
Shoot, when we started recording this, I was like, I cannot wait to disagree with you. And now I'm like, you are so right. And to have the time to have built that up, exactly like you're saying. So it's easier to just put it on and not have to like have that breakdown and figure it out. Because there is a version of AE Wellness who just like shows up and does the thing. Like I remember I was like so sick to my stomach, like not in a good way. And then I had to teach, couldn't get a sub, and you show up and do the thing. I've done a retreat where I discovered I was allergic to legumes. Very bad. Won't go into details, but it was not good.
We can all imagine how bad it was.
I'll imagine. And I'm still teaching 2 times a day. And I'm still, going on excursions and showing up. And like, I talked to a friend after, like, she had no clue. I was dying. Like, no clue at all. So it's almost like the wisdom here is think about it now, wherever you're at in that business journey, because there will be a time where like literally the last thing you want to do in the world is show up and be that person, and you have to do it anyways.
It's true. That's how it is sometimes. All right, guys, we said that hopefully we'd give you answers because I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of them.
She does.
I try. I try to have them. I mean, listen, I've effed up enough times doing this for so many years. So that's always the hope. That's how we're doing it.
So there's going to be so many more episodes. So many. Many. We'll be covering, literally everything and anything, like the grimy, gross, and also the bright and shiny.
Yeah, good times. When I sat down and thought about this podcast and then asked Alex to do it, I had, I think, 130 ideas. And now I think we've got a 200.
Yeah, we're going good, strong for a decade.
It's a while. Got a bunch of these, a bunch of them of stuff that I've messed up, and Alex has been like, yeah, I got stuff for that too. So, very exciting. If you're listening to this for the first time, please send us questions if you have them, because we're always willing to answer them.
Yeah, and you are what on Instagram?
I am your skin fitness expert.
And I'm at Hala for Mala.
Yeah, and the Body Nerd Podcast.
Actually, the Body Nerd Show.
Body Nerd Show. That's where you go. Yeah. There you are. All right, guys. We will see you the next time.